Image: the 23-year-old Miguel Andujar, left, and the 22-year-old Gleyber Torres, right, with Didi Gregorius at George M. Steinbrenner Field last week. Credit Vettel height for the New York Times. Tampa, Florida. When the Yankees' young slugger Aaron Judge looks up and down the team's roster, he sees many players like him. There's the soon-to-be 24-year-old third baseman, Miguel Andujar, who was the runner-up for the American League Rookie of the Year award last season, just ahead of a teammate, second baseman, Gleyber Torres, 22. The opening day battery will most likely consist of 25-year-old Luis Severino, the staff ace, on the mound, and Gary Sanchez, 26, crouched behind the plate. The heart of the lineup will include Judge, 26, already one of baseball's most recognizable stars after only 2 full seasons. "We're going to be set for quite a few years to be doing a lot of good things in New York," Judge said at the Yankees' spring training base here. After years of being carried by older players or building rapidly through free agency, the Yankees now have their best core of young players since the days of Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte and Bernie Williams coming up through the team's system. And while Judge is understandably optimistic about his team's odds of competing for a World Series title, it is already fair to wonder how long this core group of players will remain together, and at what cost. The Yankees' decision-makers, of course, have already been weighing these questions. The biggest hint the Yankees are already thinking ahead came this month, the 4-year, $40 million extension, which could extend to 5 years, given to Severino. And they have approached other key players, like outfielder Aaron Hicks and relief pitcher Dellin Betances, about possible extensions, which will weigh much heavier on the Yankees' payroll than their current deals. "There's going to be paydays coming down, and we have to prepare for those," said Brian Cashman, the Yankees' longtime general manager. The Yankees did not seriously pursue the star free agent Manny Machado for many reasons. His asking price, he signed for 10 years and $300 million with the San Diego Padres, a desire to spend money in several areas of the roster instead of just a few, and the fact that they already possess a talented third baseman, Andujar, and a huge contract, most of Giancarlo Stanton's 13-year, $325 million deal. But one factor was the financial future of their own young standouts. To borrow Cashman's phrasing, every dollar affects somebody else's dollar. Image: at 26, Aaron Judge is already one of baseball's most recognizable stars after only 2 full seasons. Credit Chang W. List: the New York Times. "Everything is connected," he said. "Our payrolls continue to increase, and we're preparing and have been preparing for that as these players that we think are very special continue their journeys." It might seem unusual for the Yankees, who are valued by Forbes at $4 billion and had a tradition of chasing the best free agents regardless of price under the former owner George Steinbrenner, to be concerned about the future salaries of their players. But since Steinbrenner's heyday, baseball has implemented rules that limit spending in the amateur draft or the international market, and a luxury tax that teams generally treat as a hard cap. That is not to say the Yankees couldn't afford to pursue high-priced free agents and retain their young stars. But Jim Duquette, a former Mets general manager, said the highest luxury tax penalties could be a legitimate deterrent, even for teams as wealthy as the Yankees. The Red Sox paid $12 million in penalties for their $240 million payroll in 2018 and will be penalized in the 2019 draft, but it helped them win last year's World Series. To be able to handle the luxury tax penalties in these large markets, you have to grow your own players, Duquette said. And if you're competitive, you're picking at the low end of the draft. And it's hard to hit on the Aaron Judges of the world down at the 30s in the first round, where they drafted him, so when you have a core like the Yankees, this strategy makes sense. They absolutely could afford to pay the tax, but the penalties is what makes it somewhat prohibitive. The last year was the first time since the luxury tax was put in place in 2003 that the Yankees avoided penalties, having dropped under the $197 million threshold. After being first or second in end-of-year payroll rankings for decades, the Yankees had a $192 million payroll that ranked 6th in baseball, according to Cots Baseball Contracts. The Yankees' estimated payroll for luxury tax purposes this season is $222 million, over the first tax threshold of $206 million, according to RossDairySource.com, but some relief is on the horizon with hefty contracts, like Jacoby Ellsbury's, coming off the books in 2 years and CC Sabathia retiring after this season. But big payouts also loom. Judge and Sanchez, among others, will see big jumps in pay in 2020, when they become eligible for salary arbitration, hence the Yankees' stated desire to consider multi-year deals for their arbitration-eligible players or pending free agent players. Free agency is tough, Duquette said. It's hit or miss. If you like your player and know they fit in the organization and play well in New York, then why not try to keep them together? In a labor market that seems increasingly tilted toward the clubs, players no longer see free agency as the hallowed grounds they once dreamed about. Since drug testing began, teams are increasingly wary of players' production after age 30, and one effect has been an increasing number of players signing deals considered team-friendly before reaching free agency. Dylan Betances, right, is set to become a free agent after this season, and Gary Sanchez, middle, will most likely see a big jump in his pay in 2020. Credit Ben Solomon for the New York Times. The Yankees have broached extension talks with Betances and Hicks, both of whom are set to become free agents after this season. Both declined to elaborate on the level of the discussions but said they would be interested in remaining with the Yankees. It's an amazing place with a great future and, of course, it's something I'd like to be a part of, Hicks said. Both are intriguing cases. Hicks has blossomed in New York after being acquired in a 2015 trade, putting together the best seasons of his career the past 2 years. He had a career-high 27 home runs and 79 runs batted in despite only playing 137 games last season. But he has dealt with several injuries and will be a free agent at 30. Drafted and developed by the Yankees, Betances has been one of the best and most durable relievers in baseball. Since 2014, he has a 2.22 ERA, better than all but 4 relief pitchers. What may work against Betances is his age. He will be 32 during the 2020 season, and his workload. His surgically repaired arm has thrown a lot. Nowadays, middle relievers are getting a lot of love, Betances said. This offseason alone, set up men such as Juris Familia and Joe Kelly, as well as Betances' teammates Adam Ottavino and Zach Britton, all scored contracts of at least $25 million. Another pending free agent, the Yankees like shortstop Didi Gregorius, who has also improved since his trade to New York in 2014. To go along with stout defense, Gregorius has hit .277 and averaged 24 home runs over the past 3 years. But he will be 30 next season, and his recovery from Tommy John surgery will most likely cut his 2018 season in half. Judge and Sanchez will make at least the league minimum of $555,000 this season. The Yankees may wait until next winter to begin long-term contract talks with the two, as they did with Severino. "I'm focused on this season and I haven't heard anything," Judge said last week when asked if the Yankees had approached about his contract future. Coming off a rough 2018 season, Sanchez would seem unlikely to entertain long-term offers now. But will Judge feel some impulse to cash in on his earning power relatively soon, given that he will not be a free agent until before his age 31 season in 2023? Or will he wait to see how the market changes when the current collective bargaining agreement, which has increasingly drawn the ire of players, expires in December 2021? In Severino's case, if the Yankees pick up his $15 million option for 2023, he will be a free agent entering his age 30 season. For the time being, Severino seems perfectly happy with having secured a new deal. "It gives me a lot of confidence," he said. "Every time I got to the gym, I'll be smiling. It's a lot security for my family." A version of this article appears in print on page D1 of the New York edition with the headline, "The Yanks built a core. The trick is keeping it." Order reprints today's paper. Subscribe.